I'm sending out. So hopefully you'll be able to see this better. I'm going to do dark ink. See how this works. A couple things. Let's talk about open house. Remember, we have open house coming up. Shoot, how do I do that? Oh, is it working? Okay. Open house. Let's see if I have my open house slide here. Back to school night, I guess is what it's called. I can't remember. They're all the same. Back to school night. So you just need to remember that back to school night, the principal is going to be addressing you guys at 5:45 to 6:30. They're sending you a Zoom link for that on Parent Square, okay? So 5:45 to 6:30, and then you can see the other classes listed there. I don't know. I'm assuming you can see me too right now. But anyway, so that's that. That is that, okay? And you guys will be with me at 6:50 to 7, or your parents will be. And you log on to the Google Meets that you're in right now. Okay, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow's back to school night, okay? Back to school night's tomorrow. And I think that's it for announcements. We have a test on Friday. Oh, Friday's a minimum day. And I don't know if I have the schedule for the minimum day. Let's see. Yeah, I'll try to give you the schedule for the minimum day before the class ends. I have it on my phone. Actually, maybe I could look it up on my email. So you guys, let me see if I can find. See if you guys can get the quick idea. Wait, am I presenting? Did you guys see the schedule there? I feel like I'm not presenting. Am I presenting?
It's like black for me, but you're presenting.
Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. Emily, can you see the schedule there?
No.
You can't?
No.
What do you see?
It's just your profile picture.
Oh. That's weird. You know what? Let me try. Okay. Let's go like this. Stop presenting. Let's start this over again. Present now, because I don't see the screen. Okay. Viela, can you see that now? The back to school schedule?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a schedule. Wanted you guys to see that. All right, there's the back to school schedule. Anyway, you guys, 6:50, second period. 6:50 to 7. All right. And let's see, minimum day on Friday means it's just, our class is just going to be an hour, and you guys have to take the test. So I'm just going to basically say, hey, give you the code for the test, and you guys will have an hour to complete it. Okay. I can't remember. I think it's 8:30. Our class is probably like at 9:36 or something like that. That's early, huh? Early. I'm not used to being here that early. Let's see. Let me see when the schedule is. Maybe you guys can take a picture of it. Oh, you know what I have here? Let's go like this. I just thought of the minimum day schedule. Look at my folders here. I have it in my folders. I think this is it. Okay. Rally schedule. Minimum day schedule. Okay, period 1 is 8:30, I'm pretty sure, even though this says 8. Period 2, 9:38 to 10:38. Okay? So that is going to be our schedule right there. Hopefully you guys can see that, the minimum day schedule. I know I'm going very fast. I'll put it in here. Just open a new. There, put it in there. There we go. There's our minimum day schedule. Period one's going to start at 8:30. It's not going to start at 8. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's got to be a mistake. Ask your first period teacher. Got it? Do you guys need that up there still, or are you guys good? Minimum day, I'm gonna take it off in 10 seconds unless some of you just need to look at that some more, because let's get on with the math. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing, the rational zeros theorem. Okay, so let's see. Trying to find all these windows open. Trying to find you guys. Are you? Is this it? No, that's not it. And why is that? Oh, there we go. Okay. The rational zeros theorem. Okay. Rational zeros theorem. That's what we're going to talk about today. Rational zeros theorem. What this does is it helps us factor very large polynomials. Okay. Like, let's do some Godzilla time. You guys know how to factor this, right? If I said x squared plus 8x plus 15, right? You guys can factor that. Can you guys see that okay? Let's see. Jay, can you see that okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. So again, this is Godzilla time. You don't need to write this down. You just hang out and watch. We know how to factor this. Now, this would be, you do the diamond, you do 15, you do 8, and you say 5 times 3 is 15 and adds to 8. And you say, hey, we factor it, x plus 5 times x plus 3. Okay? Now, those, basically what? This times this equals that. I need to make sure you understand this connection here. So let me write this over here, x plus 5 times x plus 3. Okay, this equals that, right? Now, what are my zeros? Remember we talked about the zeros yesterday? Well, the zeros are x equals -5 and x equals -3, okay? So we should know that. We're good. We understand the zeros, and just so you know, that means you don't have to write this out. -3, -5. I know it's going to cross at those 2 points at -3, -5. These are my x-intercepts, right? All these should come together. This all makes sense. Hey, when we factor it, I can solve for the zeros. If I set this equal to 0, these are -5, -3. Okay, that's all review. Now here's something you might not know. Do you know this? If I divide this by -5, watch what happens. Using synthetic division. -5, 1, 8, 15. If I divide this by -5, watch what happens. The 1 comes down. Stop me if I'm going too fast. I'm assuming this is review, so you should be good. -5 times 1 is -5. 8 minus 5 is 3. -5 times 3 is -15, and I got 0. What does that mean? Remember we divided that? Using synthetic division, I divided it by this, and it divides in perfectly because it's a 0. Because this times this equals that. And what does that mean? That means that x plus 5 is this times, remember this was x squared, so this becomes x, and this becomes 3. It's going to be a divisor, and it's just another way of finding a factor is by dividing, right? It's kind of like saying if I said, hey, the factors of 8 are 2 times 4, right? The factors of 8 are 2 times 4. Well, I can divide by the factors. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. That's what we're doing here. The factors of x squared plus 8x plus 15 is x plus 5 times x plus 3. But using synthetic division, we change it to a negative 5, right? And then I can divide it by this because it's multiplied by that. Okay, so you just have to understand, if I factored out it's a multiple, you can use a multiplication for our division, which is synthetic division there. Okay? So you have to understand, a factor is a multiple, and we can use that to divide, and it'll divide perfectly. Okay? Now that's the whole thing with division, with factoring, is we just have to find the things that are dividable by, or what are the dividends. Okay? So raise your hand if you understand what I just said there. Just like I'm looking at you guys. Raise your hand. I understand that a factor is divisible. Okay. Are there any questions? Say there are any questions, because that's the main. You got to understand this concept before we get into the rational zeros theorem. Are there any questions? All right. So, the rational zeros theorem. First, we have to find. It's going to look something like this, okay? Let me write a problem down. Here's an example problem, and then we'll go straight to the homework. I want to do an example. So this is your notes. Okay. Now, the rational find a good problem here. Let's do this one. So if I asked you to factor, okay, let's factor, right? So we want to find what's multiplied by this. F of x equals 5x to the 4th plus 32x squared minus 21. Okay, a couple things here. I'll give you a second to write that down. Okay. Look at this. 5x fourth plus 3x squared minus 21. What is going on here? What's a big problem here? That what do you notice that there's something missing, I guess I'll say? Clara, what do you notice? There's something missing. What do you notice here that's missing? I'll get out of the way so you can see.
I don't know.
Well, read it out loud to me, please.
Okay, it's blurry. Okay. F of x equals 5x to the 4th power plus 32x to the 2nd power minus 21.
Okay, notice the x's. What do you notice about the x's?
I don't know.
Well, how many x's are in the first exponent? How many x's you got there?
4.
And then how many in the next one?
2.
So what's missing?
I don't know. You have to like put them together.
Well, let's see. Okay, well, hang on there, Clara. Let me ask someone else, see if they can see what's missing. Let's see. Ivan, what do you think?
The 21 doesn't have an x. That's another variable.
Well, that should be there. That's good. That's a good thing. Let's see, Camilo, what do you notice about this that's going to make this difficult to factor?
There's no x to the third power.
Thank you, Camilo. Right, Clara, you see that we have here 5x to the fourth. We need a 5x to the third, and we also need an x. Clara, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think I was asking it weird, so I could have asked it a better way. I didn't know how to ask it. But how would I replace the x to the third, Clara?
Just use the x to the second.
I need an x to the third, though, to make this work. If there's none there, what do I put in there? If I need an x to the third.
Like just 0x to the third?
Perfect. 0x to the third plus 32. 32 x squared. Ivan, what do I put for my x?
What? What was the question? Sorry, laggy.
What do I put for my x?
1? No. I don't know what you mean. What do you? I don't know.
Yes, I love it. That was a good
Yeah.
one. Okay, what do I really put for my x?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
Clara, help him out.
0. Wait, I don't know. Wait, 0x?
Ivan, didn't you see what we had? No x squared, so we put x cubed, so we put 0x cubed. I gotta fill it in.
Yeah.
Were you off? Were you zoning off or something?
Oh, is that why you were asking me to put the 0x third to the third?
Oh, please stop. Okay, all right, here we go. So, yes, that's what I was asking, Ivan. I guess I asked it in a weird way.
Yeah,
So now we want to figure out what the zeros are, what they're divisible by, okay? Now, there's this thing called the rational zeros theorem. And the rational zeros theorem, here's what you need to do. You're going to call this RP, okay? And you're going to call, so the last number is the P. And the first number is going to be the Q. I know what you're saying. Sensei, what do you mean P and Q? What the heck are you talking about? Just put it P and Q. Don't even think that much about it. Just write, hey, 21 is going to be my P, and 5 is going to be my Q. Okay, right now we're just going to find what are the possible zeros. Now, this is going to give us a ton of zeros, okay? But we're going to give our possible zeros. Now, so remember we talked about our zeros before. Remember we said here, I can't remember what the problem was before. This is Godzilla time. Was it x squared plus 8x? What was it? Plus 15, right? And I was able to factor it, and we said, hey, this was x plus 3 times x plus 5. I know it's blurry. I'll get out of the way. See that right there? Do I have my pointer? Lost my pointer. So we have this here. My zeros are -3 and -5, right? Remember, they're divisible by -3 and -5. So my zeros for this are -3 and -5. But I can't factor this because it's x to the fourth. It's a big mess. So there's a technique to find the possible zeros. Now the possible zeros are going to be, this is how you find the possible zeros. Like these zeros are -3, -5. What is this divisible by? That'll give us a 0 at the end. So first we have to figure out what our p's are. The p's are going to be, okay, the factors of 21. Okay, I say the factors of 21. The factors of 21 are, what are the factors of 21? Does anyone understand what I'm asking there? What are the factors of 21? Malia, what are the factors of 21?
Is it like 1, 3?
What's that?
Is it like 3 and 7?
Yeah, very good, Malia. Thank you so much. Those aren't the only ones. What is this? Let's go. 3 and 7 are factors. I want all the factors, though. Michael, what are some other factors?
1 and 21.
1. And Malia said 3, 7, and 21. Those are my factors of 21. Now I need to find my factors of Q. Okay. What are my factors of Q? Okay. So what are my factors of Q? Let's go with Strummer. Give me the factors of Q.
5 and 1.
5 and 1. So listen to this. 1 and 5. Okay. Now to find the zeros. Remember the zeros for this were -3 and -5. To find the zeros of 5x to the fourth plus 0x cubed plus 32x squared plus 0x minus 21. To solve for the zeros, what we have to do is we do, watch what I write here. We do that. What did I write there? Virginia, what did I write there? What does this say right there, Virginia?
P over Q.
P over Q, that's what we want to do. Very good, Virginia. So we do our P's over Q's. So let's write all of our P's over Q's. So I go, let's start with this as our Q. So I do 1 over 1, 3 over 1. I'm going to divide all these P's divided by this Q. 7 over 1 and 21 over 1. Okay? Now, let's do this as my Q. So now I'm going to do 1 over 5, 3 over 5, 7 over 5, and 21 over 5. So let's simplify as much as we can. My possible zeros are 1 over 1 is 1, 3, 7, 21, 1/5, 3/5, 7/5, and 21/5. Now, those may not be our zeros. There are possible zeros. Oh, did I freeze? Sorry. Those are our possible zeros. Uh-oh. Those are our possible zeros. Now, some of these are real ugly because they're fractions. But those aren't our only possible zeros. They can also be not just 1, but also -1. So +1, -1, +3, -3, +7, -7, +21, -21, +1/5, -1/5, +3/5, -3/5, positive, negative, positive, negative. So one of these is, or not all of these, but one or more are divisible, divide into this. Okay? But that's the first part of your assignment, is solving for the possible zeros, right? These are for sure my zeros, -3 and -5. These are my possible zeros. Okay, I'll give you a second to write that down to catch up and think about that because I have a question for you. Those are my possible zeros. They may not be my zeros, but those are my possible zeros. I mean, there's no others than these. Like, these will be them, but not all of them will be zeros. All my possible zeros are this, but some of them will not be zeros.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Ivan.
So you said -3 and -5 were the, like, for sure zeros. Why isn't -5?
For this one. For this one right here. This is a separate example.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is a separate example. I just want you to understand what a zero is, right? The zero of this is -3. The zero of this is -5. This one, you know, the zero could be 1. It could be -1. This one, it could be 3 or -3. But I know for sure it's not 2 because it's not in my P over Q. And it's not going to be 5 and it's not going to be 6. But it could be 7 and it's going to be -7. Anything that's not here will definitely not be a 0. But these could be the zeros. I know it sounds kind of weird. I'll show you with an example. But how can I determine if 1 is a 0? How can I test it? Smartest person in the class. How can I test it? There's oatmeal. I want oatmeal later. I'm going to call on one of you, even if you don't know it, and I'll give you a hint if you don't know it. Okay, Ishi, what do you think? How can I possibly test to see if 1 is a 0 or if -1 is a 0? How can I test 3 or -3? Ishi, what do you think? If you need a hint, let me know.
Can I get a hint?
Okay, it starts with a D.
Divide.
And it rhymes with divide.
Divide.
Yes! Or it starts with an, let's see, another way. Isaac, what's another way we can figure it out? If you need a hint, let me know, Isaac.
Yeah, I think I need a hint.
Okay, starts with an S.
Subtract?
Nope. It rhymes with synthetic division.
Synthetic division?
Yes, very good, Isaac. You're so smart. Okay, so let's do our homework assignment, okay? You guys, I kind of changed the canvas a little bit, so see if you can find this assignment. I changed it. Let's see. See if you can find this. Before we go on to it, I need you guys to make sure that you can see it here. Why is this not lit up? It's rational 3.6 rational roots theorem, self-practice. Right here, you guys see this? That's what we're doing is 3.6 rational roots theorem, self-practice. See if I can go into. Okay, where am I? Okay, let's go to. Okay. There, is it? Oh, wait, 3.6. Rational roots theorem, self-practice. Okay, so there it is. Oh, there it is. Right there. Okay, there it is. So anyway, it's 1 through 19 odd. Then I'll write that there. It's 1 through 19 odd. Sorry. Right here. 1 through 19 odd. Okay, so this is just the first part. So let's do number 1 together, okay? Number 1 here, the rational root. Were you guys able to find that? Hope you're able to find it. I'm going to go to. But we're going to do a pair deck here. We're going to do a pair deck here. So send you my pair deck. Okay. The login. Okay. I think I figured out the paradox, so here it comes. There's your paradox. Click on that. Okay. Click on that and see you guys are joining. Okay, as you guys are joining, here's the paradox. Okay. Go ahead and solve for the possible roots there. Solve for the possible roots. Solve for the possible roots. This is number 1 in your homework, so just make sure you write your answer.
I can't see the equation.
Huh?
I can't see the equation. I see the answer box, but I don't see the equation.
Yeah, I can't either.
You don't see the f of x equals 3x squared plus 2x minus 1?
No, it's
it's
just
just-
blank.
I just refreshed and then it worked.
Okay, I refresh. Thank you for
Okay.
try refreshing it. Ivan, can you see it now?
I'm loading in.
Maybe you need the code. Oh, I'm already getting responses. Some of you are already responding. Let's have 24 of you in. How many are in this class? 27. Some of you aren't in. Stromer just came back. Stromer, we're on the paradigm. Okay. All you're doing is solving for the possible roots, the P over Q. That's all you're doing for this, okay? The P over Q. Okay, that's the P over Q. That's all you're doing. Check out your responses. You have to do P over Q. So, like, look, I'm going to show you. Yes, okay. See what you're doing. Let me show us. Let's look at a couple of your answers as you're doing this. Just so you can see, like, what's going on. Like, some different answers that some people are getting. Okay. Like here. Okay, that one's gone. Okay, this one looks good. Okay. Okay. Okay, there's going to be more. Remember, don't forget your positives and negatives. In P over Q, you guys see what's going on here? So this, it's just the P and the Q. We're not factoring it. Whoever factored it, that's correct, but that's not what I'm asking. Very good on factoring, but we're just looking for the possible answers. By the way, those of you got it, see if you got -1, you can see -1 is the solution. Look at this. This is perfect how this was written here. P is 1, and then 3 over 1. Then P over Q is 1 over 3 and 1 over 1. And don't forget your pluses and minuses, though. Okay, this one's good. You just don't forget your pluses and minuses, because then it could be a negative. This one's perfect. This one's right. Good job. See, most of you are getting it. Okay, cool. I'm going to go do it over here. I'm going to stop presenting. Okay, good. I thought that worked pretty good. So real quick, P, Q, okay, so my P's are just 1, okay? You just need to put 1 because 1 is itself. You don't need to write it twice. And then Q is 1 and 3. So P over Q is 1 over 1, 3 over 1, and then just listed as 1. I'm sorry, P over Q, sorry. P over Q, 1 over 3. And so it's 1 plus or minus 1/3 plus or minus. And by the way, if you factored it, you would see that these are the zeros, right? I mean, we can do x box parentheses, -3 over 2, 3, -1, box, 3x squared, -1, 3x, -1x, 3x, x, 1, -1. So it's 3x minus 1 and x. Look at, you don't need to do that. We're not doing this part, but I'm going to show you what the zeros are. You can see that the 0 is -1. Is -1 one of my possible zeros that we figured out? Right? See, it is. But +1 is not. We saw that -1 was one of them, and the other one is actually 1/3, right? If I solve this, you add 1, divide by 3, and 1/3 is one of my other possible zeros. This is what I didn't want you to ask you to do. I just want to say, hey, these are my possible zeros. Now, it's not +1, it's -1. Anyway, that's good. Okay, so you got the possible zeros. Let's do the other one on the pair deck, okay? So here we go. On the other one on the pair deck, go ahead and find the possible roots for this one. Okay, this one's a little bit more complicated. This is number 5 in your homework. I just try to find a little bit more challenging one. Okay, so number 5, solve for the roots there. Look on the pair deck. This is the easy part. The next part will be actually finding the roots. 4x to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th plus 30x cubed minus 15x squared plus 50x. And I'll get out of the way in just a second. Okay, so solve for this one's going to have a lot more possible roots. Here's the P, and here's the Q. P over Q, okay? This one's going to have a lot more because you have 4 factors here, 4 factors here. It's going to be a lot. But you'll be done with number 5 in your assignment. You'll be done with number 5. Okay, you guys got the answers on the pair deck? See, I need to check it. Ariana.
Yes.
Ariana.
Yeah.
I can barely hear you. How you doing?
I'm alright-ish.
You stuck?
Kind of.
Okay. You have a question? What's your question?
No, I'm alright.
I'm not seeing any responses yet. I'm not sure. I guess it is a long.
I'm a paper. So.
Wait, how do you submit it?
Wait, hang on. What, Ariana? Wait, hang on, Ivan. What did you say, Ariana?
I just said I typed slow.
Oh, that's okay. Ivan, what's your question?
I typed it in. How do you submit it or whatever?
How do you submit it? Oh no, I can't see on your guys' end.
Because mine's typed in. I don't know how to.
Oh, Virginia, do you know how to type it in, submit it?
No.
Really, Michael? Do you know how to submit it?
I don't know.
You guys submitted it last time. Let's see.
Can you see any responses?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look. Oh yeah, people are submitting it. How can I figure out who submitted it? Okay, so whoever submitted it, explain how you got it. Let's see. Oh, look, 20 of you responded. Let's see. Annika, did you submit it?
I didn't press anything to submit it,
It just went in?
I guess.
It's probably in, Ivan. Okay, I'll put the answers up. I'll show you what you guys got. If you see your answer, you know it's submitted. Okay, here are the responses. P is 5, 5, 25, 1. Very good. And then Q is 2. You just only need one of the 2's, so you don't have to write it twice. So it's P over Q, so 5 over 2. And then you only need 5 once, then 25 over 2, and then 1 over 2. And then, right? But this is good. 5 over 2, 2 over 2. I don't see the 25 over 2 here, though, but I like how you have the P's and the Q's, right? So these look good, guys. This one I think is missing a couple here because you got to do the ones divided by 2. Don't forget those. And the ones divided by 4. Okay, whoa, look at all these. Nice. Okay, so, right, P over Q. So P, the factors are 1, 5, and 25, right? Even though I said 4, you only need to write 5. I guess that's confusing because I said there's 4. You only need to write 5 once. Q is 1, 2, and 4. So P over Q, start with the 1. You go 1 over 1, 5 over 1, 25 over 1. There, I did the 1. Now let's do the 2. 1 over 2, 5 over 2, and 25 over 2. Let's do the 4. 1
You're
over.
frozen.
What? Can you guys not see me? Someone said, can you not see? Is that better? Was I frozen? Alex Mendoza, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Great, thanks. 5 over 4, and then 25 over 4. So those are my P's over Q's. Let's simplify. I have 1, 5, 25, and then 1/2, 5 over 2, 25 over 2. I can't simplify that. And then 1/4, 5 over 4, and then 25 over 4. So, and then a plus or minus. That's 2 for each. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. There's 18 possible zeros there. Okay, so if you got 18, you did good, okay? Make sure you record it for your work. Now, that's the first half. Now how do we find the zeros? How do we find, these are the possible zeros, but which ones are the actual zeros? And that's where we use the synthetic division. So let's go back to the pair deck. And let's go ahead and see. Now this one, solve for all zeros. Okay, so number 9, solve for all zeros. So I'm gonna erase this in 10 seconds unless someone speaks up. 9, speak up if you don't want to erase. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye. Okay, so now look at the pair deck. Let's see if we can solve for the zeros. So here's how you solve for the zeros. This is number 9. Okay, number 9 in your homework. F of x equals x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 3. Okay, now let's find the p's over q's. Okay, what are the p's over the q's? So my p, let me know if I'm going too fast. Q, what's my q? It's going to be 1. I'm going to put a 1 there. That's easy. That makes it easier. So p over q. So my p is 1 and 3. My q is just 1. So my p over q, let me write it over here. My p over q is 1 over 1 and then 3 over 1. So my p over q, I'll get out of the way in just a second, is plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 3. Those are so I only have 4 total zeros. That's a nice, easy one. But which ones are my zeros? Okay, that's the $1 million question. Which one are my zeros? And I told you how to do it before, how to solve for the zeros. See if you remember what I said. Remember I did all that weird rhyming thing? Eric, do you remember what I said about finding the zeros?
What was that?
Do you remember what I said about finding the zeros?
No.
Starts with an S.
Synthetic division?
Yes, Eric, awesome. Use synthetic division. Okay, so let's start with the easy ones. Now, they're all not going to work. They only work if they end in 0. If it doesn't work, then guess what? It is not a 0, and you move on. You say, this is not a 0, okay? It has to end in 0. So let's start with 1. 1 divided by 1, 3, 2, 1, 0. 1, negative 5, and 3. Okay, so is 1 a 0? So we use synthetic division, and we figure out if it's a 0. So why don't you guys go ahead and use your synthetic division, and let me know if it's a 0 or not. Annika, you can't hear me? Can anyone else hear me? Is it me or is it you, Annika?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Annika, I don't know, maybe you should sign on again and sign off again? Try refreshing, Annika. She can't hear me. I don't know why I'm talking, so. I'm black on your screen, Max? Okay.
That happened to me too. I just refreshed it and turned off the sound and the camera and then went in and then waited until you weren't black and then it worked.
Okay, cool. So refresh, turn off the sound and camera and refresh your screen. Get back, jump off and jump back on. Okay, see a lot of people are joining in. Okay, so synthetic division, let's see if it works. Okay, you guys saw it. Let's see if it works. Go divide that. I want you guys to divide that. See if it works. Let me know if it works or not. Can you hear me now, Annika?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great. What did you do to fix it? Did you go on and off?
Yeah, I refreshed, but I've already refreshed, and then the sound didn't work, so I was a little worried.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is 1 a factor? Isaac, did you get 1 as a factor there?
I got -1.
Oh, you went to -1. So 1. Did you try 1, Isaac? Isaac?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I put 1 in my the box area, whatever it's called.
And it didn't work. Okay. Isaac's already saying it didn't work, so I'm going to go through one step at a time to see what happened with Isaac. The 1 goes down. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. -5 times 2 is -3. Hey, Isaac, I think 1 actually works. Did I do this wrong? So 1 is a 0. And so what does that mean? That means this. X minus 1, because 1 is a 0, so this becomes x minus 1. Remember, this was x cubed, is now x squared plus 1x minus 5. Okay, see what I did there? So I found 1, 0. One of my zeros is 1. Plug in 1, I get a 0. Now I have 2 more zeros, but this is a regular quadratic. I can factor this. I don't need to do the synthetic division. So my other 2 zeros are -5 and 1, right? I'm factoring this. Look, I'm factoring this here, -5 and 1. Is it factorable? Nope, it is not. So if it's not factorable, because what times what equals -5 and adds to -1? Nothing. How can we solve it? We can use the quadratic formula. To find the other zeros, once I have the quadratic, or you can use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to do that. And it's probably going to be, wait a minute. Did I do that right? Maybe did I mess up? Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Did I mess up? Someone, wait, did I mess up? 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. -5 times 2 is, -3. -3 is 0. Yeah, that should be a factor. But it's not, another one's not one of these. So, this is what I did wrong. This is not, this is a, so this is supposed to be, here's what I did wrong. Sorry, it should be x squared plus 2x minus 3. That's what I did wrong, right? X squared plus 2x minus 3. Now I can factor this. -3 and 2. What times what, right? So now, see how this becomes this. What times what equals -3 and adds to -2? -3 and -1. So my zeros are x minus 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 1. Okay. On the pair deck, write down what the zeros are. What are the zeros? Write down the zeros. What are the zeros? What are the zeros? Write them down. I'll give you a hint. There's only 2 numbers. There's only 2 zeros. What are the zeros? All right. Like in what I see, I'm going to present. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh, like it. Okay. Good. Like what I see. Here's what I got for the pair deck. Okay. Look, correct. 1 and -3. Not the possible zeros. We want the actual zeros. 1 and -3. There's a 0. That's one's right. Right? Because the zeros. +1 because 1 minus 1 is 0. And -3 because -3 plus 3 is 0. Those are my zeros. Look, someone put it in quadratic form. This is awesome. Look at that. Perfect. Look at quadratic coordinate form. Sorry, coordinate form. 1, -3. These are all right. +1, -3. There you go. Got it? So those are the zeros. This is just right in the. Oh, this is it factored form. That is correct if I asked for factored form, but I want the zeros. But this is correct if we did factored form. Okay, there should be a +1. Okay, because right. But okay, I think we're getting it. Nice. Okay, one more. One more, then we can be done. Okay, solve for all zeros for this. This is number 15. I picked one of the hardest ones so we could do it in class so that you're not stuck on your own. 5x to the 4th. Let's see, 4. Do I have all my x's? I got 4, 3, 2, 1, and 7. So go ahead and find the zeros for this one. This one was easy because it was just x cubed. Let's solve for the zeros for 15. F of x. I'm writing on the board. I'm just gonna start working it while you guys are working it. So when you get stuck, I'm gonna start working it out. I'll work it quietly, but if you have a question, say, Sensei, what'd you do there if you get stuck? Oh, this one looks ugly. I think I need my calculator. But my P and Q are pretty, there's not many factors to work with, so that should be easy. P is just 1 and 7. Q is just 1 and 5. P over Q.
So we just write down the possible zeros, right? Not like solving it for real.
Solve. It says solve for all zeros. You got to find them, like we did in the last one. So you find the possibles, and you have to divide them. Does that make sense, Ivan? I think Ivan asked that. Was that Ivan who asked that?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to stop sharing. If you guys can see that. I'm going to pause here for a second. So here are my zeros. Actually, I'll let you guys try to find your own zeros on your own. Don't look at mine until you look at get yours, right? I won't be there on the test on Friday. Remember, you have only an hour to take that test. Okay, now here's my question. Look here, right? I have 1, -1, 7, -7, 1/5, -1/5, 7/5, -7/5. You want to start by dividing by the easiest one. Divide by 1/5. Ugh, No, I don't want to do that. No, let's do the easy one first. Let's start with positive 1, then negative 1, then 7. Divide by the easy ones first. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm doing 1. You guys, whatever, right? I may need a calculator. Whoa, I got one. Positive 1 was a 0. So let's write it here. We got 1 as a 0. Now, here's the thing. I still only found 1 0. Okay. Leila, Mika, the cats are attacking each other. Sorry, my cats were like fighting each other. Okay. So now I don't know. I'm gonna keep going with the positive 1, see if it works, right? Because it could be x minus 1 times x minus 1 can happen twice. So let's put 1 in again. So let's divide this by 1 now, right? 5. So I'm doing 1 again until it doesn't work. 5, negative 41 is negative 36. Negative 36. 7. And then look, 1 worked again. Okay. So I got another 1, even though I don't need to write it twice. So it's x minus 1 times x minus 1. Now at this point, see, this was x to the 4. So remember, this was 5x to the 4th minus 46x cubed, 86x squared. Okay. So now this is 5x to the 4th. This is 5x cubed, negative 41x squared, right? We keep going down. So now this is 5x squared. So now at this point, 5x squared minus 36x plus 7. So at this point, I can find my zeros by factoring. You can keep dividing if you want, but I'm just going to factor 35 negative 36. What times what equals 35 and s negative 36? Negative 35 and negative 1. And so x box parentheses, I'm just factoring it out. Let's see, I wonder if I should just erase this. I'm running out of room here. X. I'll do this in a bigger spot if you guys want to see me do this. 5x squared, 7, negative 35. I know I'm in the way. I'll get out of the way. Just a second. 5x, x. I'm just factoring that. That's what I'm doing. Negative 1. So if I was to factor this out, I'm going to pause because I need to erase this. I have all this information. I need to erase it so I can write the final answer. So I'm going to leave it up there. You guys let me know if you have any questions. Like, what the heck did you do there? What did you do there? Okay, so I'll let you guys look at that, digest it, and then you can ask me questions. Please ask questions because we're going through a lot here. Are there any questions? I'm I'm going to walk through what I did first. I'm going to walk through everything. I did my P and my Q. My P is 1 times 7. My Q is 1 times 5. My P over Q is 1 over 1, 7 over 1, 1 over 5, 7 over 5. And I got plus minus 1, plus minus 7, plus minus 5, plus minus 7 over 5. What's going on here? I don't know what this is. Is this just a... I don't know what that is. Okay. And then I started dividing by 1, and look, it worked. I got a 0. So that gives me an x minus 1. But then I did 1 again because we get s minus 1 times x minus 1, and I got a 0 here. And now I factored this out, right? And if you look, I would also get a factor of a 7. But once I factored out, I got 5x minus 1 times x minus 7. I'll write the final answer in just a second. Make sure you understand this.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So you did 1. So at the end, it has to be x minus 1, right? That would be like a 0.
My 0 is 1, so the factored form will be x minus 1.
Okay, and if I did 7 first, so if I did positive 7, so it would be x minus 7, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And look, Ivan.
Yeah.
Can you see this? Is this clear right here at all?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So 7 would work also based on this factor that I got here, because 7 minus 7 is. So yeah, it should work. I'm going to write the final answer here. I have 2 factors. I have 2 1 zeros. So my factor of 1 will be, I'll write it here. F of x equals x minus 1 times x minus 1. Those are my 2. Would have my 2 1s are 0, so I have x minus 1 twice. Then I factored it here. 5x minus 1. That's my 1/5. See my 1/5 from the factoring? And then x minus 7. And that's it all factored out. X minus 1 times x minus 1 squared. That's why I divided by 1 twice, because it happens twice. Don't keep going. Don't just stop, because it can happen twice. So you keep going. X minus 1 times x minus 1 times 5x minus 1 times x minus 7. And that's your final answer. And that is it for the day. If you got everything and you're good, you can go ahead and go. Otherwise, if you have questions, which I'm sure some of you do, you can stay. All right, we learned a lot today. Bye, Max. Bye, Clara. Bye, Camilo. Bye, Samantha. Isaac, see you later. Giselle, Annika, Michael, see you later. Jade, bye, Alex. Mendoza, Malia, bye. Bye, Emily. Bye, Virginia. Bye, Madison. Madison, sorry. Test will be multiple choice, Madison. Bye, Viela. Bye, Sienna. Bye, Ariana. Thanks. I will have a great day. Bye, Madison. Bye, Nora. Bye, Ishi. Okay. All right. What are you guys' questions?
Okay, so I totally understand the P and the Q. I totally get the synthetic division. But when I get a 0, right? Let's say like I get a 0. Let's say I did 1 and I get a 0.
Yeah.
It automatically, let's say it was positive 1. It would be automatically x minus 1, right? And then in parentheses, that's one of the zeros. And then how do I go from there? Do I just keep trying every other number?
Yes, but you want to keep trying this one. Even though this one worked, try it again until it doesn't work.
What do you like? How do I do that though? Like, what do you?
How do I know when it doesn't work?
No. How do you like if it works? How do you keep going with it? Like I see it. on your
Well,
screen.
you see this is my answer here?
Yeah, that's the answer. Okay.
Then I divide this answer by 1 again.
Oh, and then what
And then
happened?
if you wanted to, you could divide this by 1, but I just know how to factor it and see if it works again. It won't work again here.
Oh, okay. So, okay. When it gets like lower, then that's when you can factor.
When it gets to x squared. When it gets to x squared, we know how to factor x squared.
Okay.
That's a quadratic.
Yeah.
Now, look. Watch this, homie. Watch this. Let's say you don't want to factor. You did 1 again. Okay. So it'll be 5, negative 36 plus 5 would be negative 31. The negative 31 plus 7 is negative 31. 24. So it's not a 0, right? So 1's done. It doesn't work. So we won't use 1 anymore because this doesn't end up 0. And then you divide again. So erase this. If you don't want to factor, but once you factor, that gives you the answer. I know. Hey, guess what? Ivan, I know that my factor, based on this, it's going to be a positive 7. Watch what happens when I put in a positive 7. 5, 35, negative 36 plus 35 is negative 1, negative 7, 0. Boom, there's my other 0, right? So there's 2 ways to find that 0. You can just, I would rather just factor it because I don't have to keep dividing. I know the factoring will get me the answer right away, right? But if you don't want to factor, you can keep dividing by all these numbers. If you do 1, then you do negative 1. Negative 1 would not work because it's not a 0.
Okay.
So then you do 7. But you'd have to keep doing trial and error. You have to keep dividing. I would rather just factor it out and get my answers. That's what I would rather do.
So the quickest way would get it to like synthetically divide it until you get like the x squared, and that's when you can plug in your numbers. Awesome.
Once you get to x squared, then you just factor it out.
Okay, sweet.
But by the way, the zeros, this is it factored. I didn't find the zeros. The zeros are x equals 1, x equals 7, and x equals 1/5. That's my final. Everyone left. That's actually my final answer. That's my final answer. Those are my zeros. If I asked you to factor it, this would be my answer. This is factored. These are my zeros. 1, 7, and positive 1/5.
Okay, doke.
All right.
Yep.
If you have questions how I got the 1/5, I can explain that. But
yeah.
All right.
Can you check my message in the chat?
What?
No.
What, Alex?
Can you check my message in the chat? Like the.
Check it. Oh. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm checking right now. I marked you absent.
Are we able to fix that? Because my
I'm
audio's
fixing
been messing up and I couldn't respond to you.
I'm fixing
I've been
it.
here. I have all the notes from the
I'm
beginning of
fixing
class.
it. Hey, I'm fixing it. There, you're here now. You're good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. That it? Alex? Okay, I guess we're done.